Welcome to this explainer on USB Literate. This is a brand new exploit targeting a permanent flaw in A12 and A13 iPhones. Now, when we usually talk about device security, we're almost always talking about software updates, right? Apple finds a bug, they push a patch, and we all move on. But today we're diving into something completely different. We are looking at a vulnerability that Apple literally cannot fix. It's a fascinating exploit published by the research group Paradigm Shift, and it completely compromises the iPhone's chain of trust at the very earliest stages of turning the device on. So the multi-million-dollar question is, how exactly do you hack a piece of code that Apple can never, ever change? Well, we're going to treat this exploit like a digital bank heist, and we have to start with the ultimate immutable vault of an iPhone. That's the Secure ROM. When a vulnerability is found in this specific, highly guarded area, it gives exploit developers an astonishing level of power. It allows them to defeat a massive portion of the iPhone's local security model before the operating system even has a chance to wake up and load. Here is how we're going to break it all down today. First, unlocking the Secure ROM. Second, the USB underflow flaw itself. Third, the custom tools and tactics used. Fourth, bypassing A13 security. And finally, the exploit's true real-world impact.
All right, let's jump right into part one, unlocking the Secure ROM, the immutable vault.
The thing you have to understand about the Secure ROM is that it is burned directly into the silicon. It is read-only memory on the hardware itself, which means software updates can never patch any bugs found here. No way, no how. Apple relies on the Secure ROM to implement the most basic core functionality of the phone. It sets up the low-level hardware components, and it strictly validates the next stage bootloader, so the phone can eventually boot all the way to the kernel. If you can exploit this step, you can theoretically tell the device to load a totally custom bootloader with all security mitigations completely disabled at the source. It's a huge deal, because once a bug is found here, it's there forever. Moving on to part two, this is the really fun part, the USB underflow flaw, or the broken lock. Let's get into the mechanics of how this actually works. To pick this lock, we have to exploit a catastrophic assumption made by the iPhone's USB controller. You see, according to standard USB specs, every control transfer begins with a setup transaction, and that transaction is supposed to be exactly 8 bytes long. No more, no less. So the iPhone's USB controller stores these incoming packets in a direct memory access buffer, or DMA buffer. When a packet arrives, a special MMIO register increments by the packet size. Think of it like a digital pointer moving forward to the next available empty spot in memory. The controller stores up to 3 of these packets. After that third packet lands, it resets the pointer all the way back to the beginning of the buffer. And that brings us to this absolutely crucial hard-coded number, 24. Apple's controller just assumes it should always subtract 24 to reset the pointer, without ever actually verifying the real payload size it just received. Its logic is basically, okay, I just received 3 packets. Packets are always 8 bytes. 3 times 8 is 24. I'll just subtract 24 to go back to the starting line. Think of it like a faulty subway turnstile. It's expecting 24 people to walk through, but only 12 actually do. Yet, the system still subtracts 24 from the tally anyway, instantly plunging the entire system into the negative. The researchers figured out a brilliant way to send setup packets that are smaller than the required 8 bytes. Specifically, they send 3 packets of just 4 bytes each. So the controller increments the register by 4, then 4 again, then 4 again. The pointer has only moved forward by a total of 12 bytes. But then, following its blind, hard-coded logic, the controller hits that reset phase and automatically decrements by 24. So what happens when you take 12 and subtract 24? The pointer goes flying backward, way past the starting line of the buffer. This mathematical underflow is the broken lock. Because the pointer is now resting outside of its designated sandbox, when the attacker sends a 4th setup packet, the USB controller obediently writes that incoming data out of bounds. It literally writes it directly into the memory space immediately before the DMA buffer. Boom. You have now successfully bypassed the hardware's memory boundaries. Okay, part 3, custom tools and tactics, the break-in. Now, you might be wondering, how do you actually send these malformed, undersized packets in the real world? Standard computers just won't do it. macOS APIs block broken sequences entirely because they strictly enforce the rules of the USB specification. So, to pick the lock, researchers had to get creative. They used a low-level microcontroller, specifically the Raspberry Pi 2350 board, and ran custom firmware on it. This little board acts as its own completely unrestricted USB controller, which allows them to meticulously craft and transmit those crucial, rule-breaking 4-byte setup packets that confuse the iPhone's hardware. But wait, there's actually one more hardware quirk needed to pull this off, and it's the reason older devices are vulnerable while newer ones aren't. It all comes down to something called the DART, the Device Address Resolution Table. Picture the DART as a bouncer standing between hardware peripherals like our USB controller and the main system memory. Its entire job is to keep devices restricted to their approved memory buffers. However, on the A12 and A13 chips, this bouncer is improperly configured in bypass mode during the boot process. The bouncer is essentially asleep on the job. This allows our memory underflow attack to freely overwrite data in the SRM without getting blocked. On newer iPhones, the USB bug itself might still be there, but the DART is configured properly, which completely shuts down the exploit.
Let's look at part 4, bypassing A13 security, dealing with PAC.
You see, Apple actively tried to harden their systems between generations. On the A12 chip, exploiting that underflow we just talked about is pretty straightforward. The attackers simply overwrite a saved return address on the boot ROM's USB task stack, which conveniently sits right behind our DMA buffer. Simple enough. But moving to the A13 chip introduces a massive headache. Pointer authentication codes, or PAC, right in the boot ROM. PAC cryptographically signs those return addresses. If you try to overwrite them, the system detects the tampering and instantly crashes. So to bypass PAC, the researchers got incredibly clever. They forced the secure ROM into a state where it panics but keeps interrupts enabled. They corrupt a global panic counter to create an infinite loop which stops the phone from rebooting. Then they overwrite the USB interrupt request handler table instead. When a new USB interrupt comes in, the system calls those function pointers, which crucially are not projected by pointer authentication. And just like that, the attackers have full code execution. It is a brilliant workaround. Finally, part 5, the exploit's true impact, the loot. So, after this incredibly complex digital heist, what do researchers actually walk away with? By completely breaking the chain of trust, they can easily load custom bootloaders and turn production phones into wide-open development playgrounds. And the craziest part? This entire exploit takes roughly 1 single second to execute once connected to that Raspberry Pi. From there, it installs a payload that intercepts USB requests with a custom handler. Researchers even built in commands to literally demote the device. They changed the in-memory value of the iPhone's fuse bit to instantly turn a retail iPhone into a developer unit. It lets you boot a custom iBoot image with 0 signature checks, and they even provide a slick little Python program to let you extract, patch, and run bootloaders right from your computer. Now, before anyone starts panicking about their own phone, it's really vital to understand the boundaries here. For everyday users, there is no immediate risk. The Secure Enclave Processor, or SEP, that's the fortress that guards your passcodes and biometrics, is completely unaffected by this boot ROM flaw. Your data is safe. Furthermore, this only impacts the iPhone XS and iPhone 11 generations. If you have an iPhone 12 or anything newer, that appropriately configured DART we talked about earlier means your device is totally immune to this memory underflow trick. But while the everyday consumer is safe, the real value of USB Literate is for the cybersecurity community. Because this is unpatchable, security professionals now have a permanent, deeply privileged platform on A12 and A13 devices to hunt for brand new vulnerabilities. So I'll leave you with this final thought. How will this permanent, unpatchable backdoor supercharge the next generation of deep iOS vulnerability research? By giving researchers the power to disable security mitigations right at the source, we might just be looking at the launchpad for discovering the bugs that will impact iOS 26, 27, and beyond.